Creative marketers are now tapping into childhood nostalgia to reach an adult audience. Playground games are showing up at music festivals, while artists are wearing school uniforms and record covers. The British band Gorillaz are taking the trend one step even further by inviting the fans into the toy store.
I have got Noodle and I've got Russell in my bag there. And they're the latest toys from the Gorillaz. So I'm excited.
And a couple of these bad boys, autographed.
And I got Noodle, signed by Jamie, the artist.
Well, what we know, at least in the United States, is that only a few hundred records a year make money, and tens of thousands of records are released. The radio stations don't switch the music they're playing because a new very good album comes along. Very good is not enough reason to switch. It's when something remarkable happens, that people remark on it, that the idea spreads.
Seth Godin, author of the best-selling book All Marketers Are Liars, points out that record companies are coming up with smarter and smarter ways to sell records. It is not about competing to produce the best record anymore. It is about competing to tell the best story.
And so when I look at a group like Gorillaz coming out, well, what's their story? They started by working with the producer who did the Grey album. So when Time magazine writes about it, they don't write about the album, they write about the producer. Or they introduce a line of toys with Kid Robot. Why? Because the toys are a souvenir. It's a way of holding the story, of telling the story to somebody else. It's a remarkable thing to do that has nothing to do with the music, but of course it's everything to do with the music, because you're going to like the music more if you like the stuff that goes around the music.
And why toys?
Toys because never grew up, I guess.
I mean, it goes along with the music, but at the same time, you know, it just looks cool. So, I mean, might as well buy it, you know?
I used to collect like cards, like playing cards, baseball cards, football cards, whatever, basketball cards, and now I'm not into sports anymore. Like I'm into music and movies and stuff like that, and artists, and they choose to use toys as their outlet, I feel, you know? So I get the toys.
Why toys? Well, why not? Everybody loves toys, don't they? And they're cartoon characters, so they translate to toys.
They have to become toys at some point. It's part of the, you know, life cycle of a cartoon that it becomes a toy.
Natural progression. And we have children and they like toys, so we can give them some free toys.
Well, if you're 30 or 40 or 50 years old, you grew up with Lego, with little action figures, with toys. And so when a group like Gorillaz comes out with these little toys, they're talking to someone's worldview, to a point of view that says it gives me joy to spend $8 on a little toy, on a collectible. And that joy is going to get translated over to the music. So that when I walk into the toy store, I might not be thinking about a new album, but when I see these cool Gorillaz toys, it reminds me of the album and they both connect back to each other.
Everything is obviously a part of the media world, really, you know, but I mean, if you go home with something you're happy with, you know, you're not really tricked, so.
Like it's marketing. You know, people get excited about this. People maybe who have never heard about the Gorillaz see this line and say, oh, maybe it's important to have, you know? Maybe I'll wait in line too and get it. It's all marketing, it's all advertising, and it's a good strategy, yeah, definitely. That's why.
And why did you fall for it?
I didn't fall for anything. This is a sound business decision. It's an investment.
Marketing is not commercials. Marketing is not coupons. Marketing is how do you make your idea spread.
Used clothes are no longer just a dirty secret you hide in your closet, but have become vintage treasures with unbelievable prices. Twice a year, smart shoppers and designers on the hunt for inspiration gather at Manhattan Vintage Fair to seek out a blast from the past in one of the fashion industry's fastest growing markets.
I have a beautiful Oscar de la Renta silk dress from the 80s, all ruffled, absolutely gorgeous. This is Bellevue Sassoon. This is also from the 80s, an English designer who designed a lot of dresses for Princess Di. This is Bill Blass pantsuit from the 80s with a real lizard belt. It has a strappy top, red, never used, and sold in Saks for $2,600.
Well, Betsy Johnson, the designer, clothing designer, who's been a designer for 30 years, she was here today a few hours ago. And Tara Subkoff was here yesterday, and Linda Evangelista, the model, was here yesterday.
And Ralph Lauren, Polo, they come. They've bought vintage for as long as I've been dealing vintage, 30 years. They've always bought, and they have a whole entourage of people who buy for their different design teams.
No designer functions without vintage. I know it. They may say, "Oh no," but you know, everyone from Mark to Jill to Calvin to Don, we all look at vintage. It's part of the history of fashion design, and it always inspires you. I have about thousands of pieces that I've saved over the years. That I go through my racks, my archives. I have a lot of my own vintage, which I get ideas from still because, you know, the way I cut something or, you know, you forget. It's like your library. So I have a big vintage collection that I'm constantly referring to.
Vintage clothing not only trickles down to the trends we see on the runways, but it's also having an impact on the film business. Mark Bridges, the costume designer for Hollywood movies like Boogie Nights and Magnolia, collects used clothes for research and ideas.
As a costume designer, we're always looking for great condition things that really sum up a period, that are the quintessential look of a period. Like here I have this little girl's dress right here. It couldn't be anything other than 50s, great detailing, great styling, and so I'm constantly looking for things that peg a period and also say something about the character. I think there's going to be a huge rush for more vintage as things become more the same all over the world. It's a way to have some unique style.
I'm wearing a 50s dress. And I think they're cute, and they're sort of cool, I think.
I'm actually here looking for a prom dress, and I just found one, and I also found a graduation dress, so I'm excited. This is my prom dress, and it's fabulous. It's from approximately the 60s, especially with the ruffle detailing. You can tell it's kind of like a 60s vintage dress. And then this is my graduation dress.
I am wearing a 1930s wedding dress, and it is beautifully crocheted, very tiny, and it's perfect for an outdoor wedding. So if you'd like to get married, I'm available.